Hi guys, welcome to DOdaily. Thursday Thoughts. It's Des here, ready to answer your questions live. As ever, I'll be getting stuck into what you guys have thrown at me. Following on from the previous few weeks, I'll be starting by talking about those targets I set myself as we approach the end of the year, looking at last week's throwback, answering the questions, and then I'll be setting another throwback for you to get involved in. Like always, really appreciate the feedback. Getting stuff helps me put this together on a Thursday. It's great to be able to pass on little bits of information that you might need yourself, or you just might be curious about. That's all this is, just some sort of easy to take information. I try not to be too scientific, too technical in my responses. Just ways I'm getting out and about and trying to enjoy and be positive for the things I do. Anybody who's watched this week will know I've been feeling it just a little bit the last couple of days. But okay, pretty sort of pleased, but a little bit frustrated. Actually had a physio appointment about my arm today, so that's looking a little bit more positive too. Able to put a few more things in place. It's easing up every day at the moment, and so things are okay. Just been feeling a little bit weird, a little bit overwhelmed because I've not been able to do all the things I want. I always talk about sort of getting the things done to create our own energy, so that's really important. There's a couple of questions today about where I am with the running, so I'm not going to say too much about that, but I have just got back from a session with the guys. I do the DOdaily coaching session here in Nottingham. So being able to sort of put that across and get involved again myself was really picked me up. I was feeling a little bit tired beforehand. And of course, like I said there about creating our own energy, all of a sudden, I feel like I can do a bit more. But like I say, I'll come back to the depths of that shortly. If you want to get involved in the episode, of course, please drop me a comment. If you've got a burning desire to come on, please do ask me a question, and of course post all your questions in the comments. Throughout the week I'll put up the social media links there now. I'll pick them up and sort of have a go at answering them. Try not to do too much research either. I was just saying to Kay actually puts this together for me, just the wording. She said she could write anything. I don't know what's coming up sometimes. Sometimes I have to think about the questions, but I just try and make it sort of honest and relatable and like I say, a little easier to digest. Just light-hearted stuff, really. Just things that we're all doing day in, day out. Hence, DOdaily. But cracking on, like I say, starting with those targets that were set for me by the viewers a good few weeks ago now. I kind of run through these pretty quickly at the start, just to sort of let people know that I'm still working at them, where I'm at with them, the ones that are going well, the ones that aren't going so well. No takeaway coffees. I've still not had a takeaway coffee. I'm dying for one this last week, in all honesty. I think the cold, the bitterness and getting out, for plenty of running, picking up my activity again. It tends to be when I'm cold and I feel like I can treat myself is when I kind of crave them. But again, part of the challenge is not to crave them so much, not to want them so much. Whilst they are nice, they're not perfect. And whilst I'm dieting too, there's less calories in drinks I make here at home. So yeah, still cracking on with that one. Tough time of year at Christmas. It's always nice to have a takeaway coffee, and the Christmas variations, but managing to get through that one. We're in a sub 27 5k. Well, a couple of weeks ago I was really frustrated with this one, wasn't I? I couldn't run, couldn't get out there. I was in too much pain with my arm. But having taken part in the Advent Activity Challenge that I set the Do Running guys, completing 5k a day, of course I set about that from the 1st of December, looking to sort of get in my 5Ks every day up until the 25th. Still sticking to that, really enjoying it, making the most of it, posting in the Do Running group and sharing posts with the guys and enjoying what they're doing. So over the past couple of weeks, I've just found a little bit of progress. Again, 27 is quite a realistic target in normal times. I can do a 5K much quicker than that when I'm really fit, but it's been really tough. Last week, I said I'd got a 5K in and I managed to do it around 30 minutes. So my first little target was 30 minutes. Yesterday, I actually got out and did just over 28 minutes. So I'm really sort of eating away at that. And with 3 weeks to go, probably still got some time to shave a little bit more out of that, and feeling a little bit stronger as I am. Like I say, I'll come back to that, but feeling confident that I can at least give it a real go. And that's a nice feeling to have. Get 200 subscribers on the channel. Of course, that all depends on you guys. If you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with anybody you think might be interested. Please ask your friends to subscribe. Don't really care for this part of the challenge, who subscribes and how and when. Just subscribe. I need 25 to get there. Always set out with the knowing that this was always going to be a bit of a slow burner. I'm trying to develop on the job. People are supporting it. Some people are fantastic support and encourage through their channels as well. I go on others to try and sort of get more confident. And the subject is not easy. People have said to me, why don't you do a football channel? Why don't you do this? And I'm not saying what they do is easy, because I know a lot of people who work hard at it. But if I wanted to talk about something I was comfortable with, I'd talk about football. Not quite comfortable all the time talking about the mental health side and the feeling good and the positivity. So I appreciate some people might just be a little bit put off by that to start with. But if you do view it, if you are looking in, you'll realise that there's nothing too much. Nothing's going to make anybody feel particularly uncomfortable. The only person who feels uncomfortable at times is me trying to be really, really honest with the way I'm feeling. And that's all you'll really see. Do 5 part ones you haven't done before. Last week, I got in my 4th. Where was I? It seems like I've done that many now. I can't remember where I was. I actually got up to the Monsell Trail in the Peak District. An amazing place to run, an old railway line. It was a simple out and back, but some pretty stunning views, although it was bitterly cold. But really, really enjoyed that. Easy to sort of navigate. And of course, with my arms still sort of playing up, it was easy to sort of just get up and down and complete that. Again, it was over 30 minutes, but this week I've seen that progress. This weekend I'm going to another football match, and as I tried to do, especially with this challenge, I tried to tie one in with a football match. I'll be going to Swansea, a long trip to watch Forest, but really, really looking forward to that. Going with friends, meeting friends there, so really excited. But I'll be doing a park run called Knoll Park Run, and a friend who lives that way, somebody I've met through a YouTube channel, incidentally, advised me to go and look at the Knoll ruins. He says that he knows I'm into my walking and things like that. And I actually said I've been looking up and there's a park run there. So with the park run, we've taken that challenge off a good few weeks ahead of schedule, despite a couple of interruptions in the meantime. I'll be able to see something different, perhaps get out for a bit of a walk there as well. And of course, I love getting to new places. So that challenge has been a brilliant one. Really, really enjoyed that. So, yeah, looking forward to getting it ticked off, though, and then perhaps staying local over Christmas. So looking forward to that as well. And then lose an average of £2 per week between now and Christmas. Initially, this was a bit tough, wasn't it? I don't think I was in quite the right headspace. I couldn't do my activity. Sometimes with weight loss, you need to do it, but it's not until you can do it. And for me, it's when other things kind of can coincide with it. I mentioned the running. A friend gave me some nutritional products to try, to help me sort of get into good routine. I'd used them before. And in the last 2.5 weeks, I've lost over a stone. So really on track with that one. Really sort of pleased with myself, feeling much better about it. And again, it helps me with the running and being in the right frame of mind, and really sort of gets me into my routine. So really pleased about that one. And that's the targets for the time being. I'll be back with those next week. If anybody's got anything to sort of add or say about those, please drop me a comment. Really, really appreciate that. And anything I've said about part ones or diets, if you've got any advice and tips, please sort of drop that on as well. It'd be great to hear. Moving on to last week's throwback. What one thing do you always do every Christmas Day? I mentioned the fact that recently I've mentioned the fact that lots of people always say to me, you don't run on Christmas Day, do you? I've said this quite a lot recently, but I do, and I really, really look forward to it. They can't understand why you take time out on such a special day. But Christmas Day and your birthday, you want to make the most of them. And for me, I'm doing what I really, really love. That Christmas Day in particular, I touched on it whilst I was talking about part ones. The part one here in Nottingham, in the centre of Nottingham, very sort of cosmopolitan area, different sort of cultures, different people coming together. They get about 700 people. It's Forest Rec, really sort of famous sports ground as well down the years. So a great place to be, right in the heart of the city. And for me personally, it's on the way to going to see family, so it's just like stopping through almost. Why wouldn't I do it? So that's why I kind of put this question out there. Got some good feedback, good answers. Kay says she always likes to start a day with a run. Of course, we do this together now, so it's great that we get to part one. It's great that we get to do it together as well. So whilst it's not me going off on my own on Christmas Day, it's being selfish. I'm not saying people that do something on their own are selfish, but can't be accused of that. I can't be accused of leaving her to dinner and all these things. She does it with me, so it's something we really, really enjoy together. Dawn says, for the past 17 years, we've had croissants and pan au chocolat with Bucks Fizz for brekkie. Again, just these small traditions. It's what makes you tick, isn't it? It's something to look forward to. I always remember before part one, I used to start with a glass of champagne. I wait till after the run and getting home now from that visit. So it just these little things. It means something to us, and there's always a reason behind them as well, isn't there? There's a reason why we do these things, and that's why I thought it was important to highlight. Again, no wrong answers here, just what people are thinking and what people do themselves. Ian says, for me, it's got to be part one. Of course, being around a lot of runners, it's going to be pretty sort of familiar answer amongst these. Sarah says, turkey for dinner, it's the only time I eat it. I know a few people like that as well, and the Brussels sprouts. I don't like Brussels sprouts. I like turkey. I like the fact that we have two meats. Not that we can't at any other time of the year, but we have gammon and turkey, and I really sort of enjoy the whole Christmas dinner thing as well. And I know a lot of people, and then we have leftovers. And it just tastes that little bit better at Christmas, doesn't it? It's bizarre. Michelle says, I never missed the Queen's speech. Like myself, I always love the Queen's speech. Make sure that whoever's here shuts up for 10 minutes so we can all tune in. Really, really important, and it's as important as ever this year, isn't it? Because she's not been well, so really sort of looking forward to what she's got to say. And with everything that's happened, I think it's kind of important as well. So looking forward to that. Great feedback. And Linda Moss says, we always go to the pub to meet friends before dinner. Another great tradition, isn't it? Hoping to get over there myself this year. The pub that I use as a local, the place where we do the running club from. I know they're open early on, so we're looking to pop in. Just depends how it all pans out, and I'm not fully committing to that, but it'd be lovely to get over there after the support they've given me and the running club throughout the year. It'd be nice to sort of repay that a little bit. I'll definitely be there on New Year's Eve, mind. But yeah, that's just the there's one more. Hannah says when she visits family back in Norfolk, she always goes for a nice family walk. And again, that's a great thing to do, isn't it? I love seeing the responses where people are out there getting in the activity. If you've got anything to add to that, anything you do, please drop it in the comments. Like I say, there's no wrong answer to this. Just looking perhaps for a little bit of inspiration, something that could add something to somebody else's day. I'm already sort of, it's not quite Christmas, but I'm thinking towards New Year and getting in my early New Year's walk. Something I've done over the last couple of years. I'm really sort of looking forward to that. And it's not something I've always done. Somewhere along the line, the idea popped into my head to do it. And if this can help in any way, that's great, isn't it? But like I say, drop your comments. Well, thanks for all that feedback on those. We'll move into the actual crux of Thursday's episode, the questions. Once again, thanks for those posting them in. Really, really appreciate it. Dawn, who's fantastic support with DOdaily, always sort of asking me questions, picking my brains, commenting on the throwback. I can't thank you enough. And of course, this time of the year, I'll be thanking all those people that have helped me and supported me along the way. But she says, when doing a running streak, at what point does it get really hard? And I think this is a great question. I really sort of appreciated getting this week because I was touching on the fact there about my running and where I'm at personally this week. I had a great sort of first week in this current running streak, 7 days, feeling really, really good. Really picked my mood up, feeling good about my diet and all those sorts of things. But the reason I do this challenge at this time of the year on year, when possible, I've done it 5 of the last 6 years. Looking back, then the only one I didn't was for an operation. It's because you're not just battling getting out there for a run. You're battling time, plans, other things to do, other people's expectations. You're battling the weather as much as ever. We've had a storm Barrow in this week. And I think that despite the fact I really, really enjoy getting out in the rain, I always say skin's waterproof. Check out the video from Tuesday as well. It was just the benefits of actually getting out in the cold weather and rain. Just some really short tips, short video, just sort of bite-sized information. But check that out. But despite all that, I think the weather actually got to me a little bit after about 7 days. I'm not saying it always kicks in at that point, but I've not done much activity. So I think having sort of got an initial sort of buzz from getting out there, getting it all back in, I think sort of tiring up a little bit. The weather has been bitterly cold, windy, rain. I can deal with the rain. Not quite so keen on the wind. The wind really sort of gets to me, and the biting cold, of course, as well. Got out there tonight, though, not feeling it after yesterday, where I touched on the fact, just feeling a little bit less than 100%, a little bit overwhelmed with all those things I said I haven't done. Wasn't really looking forward to getting out. Looking forward to coaching the guys and shouting at them and encouraging them and being their energy. But I wasn't too keen on doing it myself. When I got out there and did it, I've been doing 5K a day to this point. Actually did 5 miles worth of sort of hill repeats and climbing this hill that we did 5 times and cutting off at certain points. Really great session. Took some great pictures, I had a good time doing it, and I feel absolutely fantastic again. And this is what I always say about a running streak or something like this current Advent challenge. It's about just sort of just getting out there doing it. I always say just doing it, of course, but understanding that there's going to be tough times. There's going to be tough days. I know guys that can go out and run for hundreds of days at a time, months and months, years and years. And that's really, really admirable. I'm inspired by that. I'm impressed by it. But it's those, I also know guys that are super fit, absolutely almost superhuman, and don't have to run as much and can really sort of achieve without doing streaks. And they're finding it really tough as well. So it's not just me who's coming back into it. So what I'm kind of getting to with this, Dawn, is the fact that I don't think there's any given time where it gets tough. It's just when it gets tough, you have to remember some of those rules I put across on earlier videos of taking it easy, taking the pace off a little bit. I want to try and run them all, but on Monday and Tuesday this week, I really took the pace off, really kind of sauntered around. Tuesdays was about putting my video together and the clips and running from bit to bit, that kind of thing. So really sort of enjoyed doing that. but it took the pace off. And then yesterday, without any sort of time in mind or any thoughts of going a little bit faster, I used the running club and people within it to sort of pace me a little bit. Didn't ask them, just sort of knew there were people behind me at some point, and then there was people in front of me, and just trying to sort of keep up, and I managed to get to that sort of 28-minute marker, from 30 last week. So I found 2 minutes, and again, it's just about sort of using that to create the positivity. That gave me confidence again, thinking, wow, I am getting somewhere, I am doing it. The first 2 days this week made me think I'm really tired, I'm really I'm stretching myself a little bit too much. So tonight I got out there and really, really loved it. By the end of it, despite the fact it was cold, it was biting at the start. The thought of the hills was a bit daunting. Once I was in it, once I'd done it, all the endorphins come out. You don't feel the cold as much. Of course, I got cold very quickly. Like I say, took those nice pictures. It was actually Nottingham Castle. There's some sort of theme going on the wall. So really, really sort of enjoyed being out there with the guys. And it's just made me feel like I'm ready for tomorrow again, ready for number 10. 10 days in a row, that's no mean feat, is it, for anybody? But especially when you've not run consistently for months and months on end, I'm really sort of pleased to be at that point. What I do know is that tiredness will kick in again, and it's just about getting through them. I touched on last week, I've done these things at 11:30 at night. I've done it with an hangover after Christmas parties. Not that I'm advocating running too much hungover, but I've gone out early Saturday mornings after a big Friday night, and again, it's just been a brilliant way in all weathers of clearing the mind. The one thing the cold and the rain does sometimes just really refreshes you. If you're feeling a bit sort of dry and numb, and it's like getting in the shower, isn't it, when to make yourself feel that little bit better. It's one of the easiest things you can do. So getting out there has been great. There'll be different points where it gets really tough. Some periods, some just one-off days, you might be absolutely flying for. As good as I'm feeling now, and the next few days I'm looking forward to, it could just change again and I'm feeling tired. But it's just about pushing through those and treating it as the challenge it is, rather than getting too sort of worked up by how far we've got to go, what we're going to do, how we're going to get through the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's just about taking it one day at a time, and that's all I try and do. And if I sort of judge my run on its merits that day, I can, and I'll accept when it hasn't gone so well, or enjoy when it has, I'll be looking forward to the next one. Hopefully that answers the question, but I really thought that was a good question today. If you've got any input, of course, please drop in the comment. Question 2. This is from Tom. He says, I really enjoyed your tips from the running in the rain this week. I mentioned that. What's the wettest run you've ever done? And again, tonight has made me think about times I've been out there and it's been absolutely freezing. I've got a pretty straightforward answer to this. I did in the summer, not even in the winter. I think it was the end of May. I did the Market Harbour half marathon, and me and some of the guys from the running club jumped on a train on a Saturday morning. It's about 45 minutes on a train from Nottingham. Went straight to the race, ready to run. We was actually planning on doing a park run as well, because we like to get these things in, and it started an hour before the half marathon. I was in marathon training at the time, I believe. So I was looking to sort of add the park run onto the half marathon, get somewhere new, enjoy both in a different location. And when we got off the train, it was absolutely pouring it down in biblical proportions. So rather than go to the park run and start the half marathon in the worst condition ever, we took shelter in a Costa Coffee, ironically, really sort of come to terms with the fact that it was wet and cold and we couldn't be doing one run, stopping, then doing another. the problem was we'd heard there was lots of other people doing the same, and there was lots of rumours that the race wasn't going to take place. It was all part of a big festival. So they had like sort of fun fair rides and stalls and all these sort of things around this field. You know, we're supposed to sort of do the race and then sort of come back and enjoy whatever's happening, the beer tent, and I can't remember everything that was going off. But we'd heard that it'd all been cancelled, so it was like, so we've come this way, you know. But at that point, we'd almost kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that it wasn't going to happen. So I know personally, I lost all motivation to do the run. You know, then we kind of said, well, we better go and see if it's on. What had happened is everything but the half marathon had been cancelled. As runners are a bit hardcore, aren't we? They let us go out into the countryside, and we got absolutely battered by the elements. You know, I remember just thinking at one point, I can't do this anymore. When I was a lot fitter, when I was in a lot better place with it. But as we always do, we got through these things. I remember a hill at the end, you know, going up this hill against the wind. It was like 11 miles in, thinking, what am I doing? Finished in this open field where there was supposed to be all this sort of fun and entertainment. And then we made our way to the pub, and as always happens with these things, the sun came through. When we were in the pub, wet through, in wet clothes, wet bags, wet everything, you know, we're celebrating with a few drinks, and the sun come out. And then you look back and you go, that was pretty epic, wasn't it? I like running in the rain, but that was definitely the wettest one I've ever done. Just a bit of a tale there about an event. But like I say, we always get through these things. So whatever the elements, what I will say, just sort of going a little bit off question there, but one of the reasons we have to run in the rain if we're keen to do events and keen to progress is you never know what it's going to be on race day. So all this preparation through the winter, you know, if you're doing the London Marathon, for example, in April, you know, it's still at that time of the year. You don't know whether it's going to be 7 degrees or 27 degrees. You know, I know people who've done it in the rain. Kay, when she did it, it was one of the hottest on record. You know, so you've got to almost prepare for every eventuality. You know, I'm actually pleased that London Marathon is next October, because I hate the thought of running all through the winter when it's cold. And I know for the first few weeks of the summer I struggle. So if it was hot, it's difficult. So I'd rather sort of run through the summer and train that way, and then it'd be a little bit colder on race day. But you never know what's going to come. So it's important to keep getting out there. And like I say, to check out the benefits, look at that video, to check out the challenge, you know, check out some of the information about that. They're all in the library. So do look back. But again, another great question there, Tom. Really sort of appreciate that. If anybody has got a tale to tell about a biblical proportion race, please drop it in the comments too. And then the question 3, I thought I was going to get one about this today. This is from John. What do you think to bringing in Plan B? Going to have to be a little bit careful here. I'll be honest, as I always am. Little bit skeptical of the reasons, just like most people are in the country right now. You know, there's lots of things in the news at the moment about people not following the rules. And I'll hold my hand up. You know, I'm not going to, I don't think I've gone too far wrong. I've not been perfect all of the time. But I've said it before, you know, people making rules, people saying how important it is, if they're not abiding by them, they obviously don't believe in it, do they? They don't believe it's as serious as it is. I've just admitted there, you know, at times, probably bent the rules as much as anything. You know, did I believe it was as serious as they're telling us? Perhaps not. But they are telling us it's serious. So not to abide by them, and then the day after to come up with all these measures. You know, I saw Respect to People on the television this morning questioning the methods. You know, the fact we've now got to wear a mask or work from home if we have to. We have to work from home, but we're allowed to attend a Christmas party with people from work. That doesn't make sense, does it? That absolutely doesn't make sense. So there's no wonder that people in the country are switching off.
I've done the things I have to do. I've had my vaccines. I've had my booster jab. I feel quite lucky to have had those, as soon as I could, through work and things like that. So we're kind of doing our part. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I do believe there's a COVID issue out there. I believe there's a virus, but, what we're told, do I believe that all the time? If I'm completely honest, no. And I'm not saying this from a political point of view. I made a comment once on social media about politics. I'll probably never do it again. I commented on... I'm not sure I understand. Siri's on my watch is telling me not sure that he understands. Well, I'm not sure I do either, but there you go. I made a comment on my social media, got a bit of a backlash. I questioned the Prime Minister, just like Anton Deck might be at the moment, or people like that. I questioned leadership, and people turned it into politics and said I was furious about Brexit and I didn't like this. I actually questioned leadership of the Prime Minister and the party that I've historically supported. I'm not going to get too into all that, but I'm questioning the leadership all around because I don't think there is much, and this time last year, when the Prime Minister was having parties, he was also telling people to dob the neighbours in, causing division in communities, because that's all that was going to do. So how right now, in a lead up to Christmas, can we be told to have a party with people from work, but told not to go to work? Dr. Lee Jones said the same thing this morning, and he knows a lot more than me, about COVID. And it's just kind of where I stand on it. Is it any wonder that people aren't following if this kind of thing, or aren't believing? I've gone through the stages of thinking about sort of these anti-vaxxers, for God's sake, just get it done, just think of other people. I've gone through that stage. I've almost got angry at people for not getting vaccinated. But if you're hearing what you hear now, you're almost giving them some justification to believe in that, and what we need more than anything, whoever's making the decisions, is strong leadership. Like I said, I won't make any more sort of political comment because it wasn't worth it. People were questioning why I would say this, that, and the other. It's always been about leadership for me, and somebody, in a position. I understand you're there to be shot at. Even in my small world of leading a running club, trying to do a YouTube channel, people always criticise. People always have a go. That's the position you kind of put yourself in. But the Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, absolutely anyone else involved in these things need to understand that's the position they put themselves in as well. And that's my thoughts on Plan B. I try not to be too controversial, but I'm just starting to realise why people won't understand. I'm trying to be sort of play devil's advocate a little bit. Like I say, I believe everybody should go and get vaccinated, but we're actually giving them reason not to believe, and that's not what we need, is it? We need to, the people in place need to do things by the absolute letter of the law. And when they ask a question, they don't even answer it. So, they're not even admitting to dealing with Plan A. So why should we deal with Plan B? But please do, of course, it's about trying to get better. I will stick to it as much as I can. I'll try and wear a mask. I have to go to work when I'm fit enough to go to work with my hand. I will be going back to work in the near future. So, and because I work in that kind of environment, but that's one of the reasons I believe in it as well, because I see the impact it has. So it's really, really important to stick within the rules as much as you can. But I'm understanding why people see it from different angles. So that's my thoughts on that. Quickly moving on. Got a comment here from Dawn. The wettest one I've ever done was a couple of years ago at a Do Running City Slickers run. Of course, one of the sessions we hold here in Nottingham on a Tuesday. Absolutely soaked. Most of that was from folk jumping in huge puddles. I think she's kind of aiming that at me. Everyone was a bit miserable that night, and just to lighten things up, because I'm a bit of an idiot at times. I jumped in a puddle, splashed Dawn in particular, and then that was it. It was the start of a crazy 15 minutes where we just ended up absolutely soaked. But we had a great time in the meantime. So like I say, guys, thanks for all those questions. Really appreciate there's some good ones there. I felt like I've been able to really get stuck in and offer my opinion and my thoughts. And of course, when I'm talking about running, I feel a lot more comfortable. Hopefully some of that sort of transmits between other things and it's sort of transferable, and you understand where I'm coming from on things. It's just about trying to be sort of positive with what you do, set yourself targets, achieve things along the way and get that satisfaction from it. And that's all we can do. And then when it comes to things like COVID, just do what we have to do. Sometimes, if you're adamant you are going to do something or you're not going to do something, you have to do it and kind of forget about what everyone else does. Forget about it, until these kind of situations arise. So moving on, trying to finish on a really positive note. I'm not going to finish on COVID, of course, because we'd never do that. The throwback question, I've mentioned my targets. I've mentioned sort of getting back into the running, feel and the diet, it's really working at the moment. So it gave me sort of inspiration to ask you guys, how are you looking to finish 2021 strong? It could be this Advent challenge that I'd set through DOdaily and Do Running. It could be your own sort of individual targets. How are you looking? What are you doing to sort of compensate for that extra indulgence over Christmas, those extra pints and bits of champagne or one too many Brussels sprouts or whatever it might be? How are you looking to sort of compensate that and finish strong? Because, of course, towards the end of the year, I'll be talking about our achievements, what we've done over the last 12 months, and of course, planning for the next 12 months and looking at some real big targets for 2022. That's all I'm trying to do. Keep working on this, keep working on those, keep working on myself, keep trying to encourage and inspire people to make a good decision for themselves too. So if you can drop us a comment, do it now. Don't even wait, just drop it in the comments. I'll find it, I'll read it out, and hopefully it might give somebody else some inspiration to use that too. If you don't want to drop it in the comments, or you've got questions to add or anything to add to today's episode, please email des@dorunning.org.uk. If you want to be anonymous, if you want to ask me personal questions that might relate to yourself, I've been really, really honest in the past on this. I poured out, I've told people what my lowest point was and what affected me and how people affected me and who, not who in terms of names, but sort of how I've had to sort of make tough decisions to come away from it. So absolutely anything you've got, whether it's running, walking, Christmas, COVID, you're not dealing with things right now. What are my thoughts on sort of getting better, all these kind of things. That's what it's about, just a light-hearted way to encourage activity, but also to touch on mental health. I've even been honest today, this week, I've let things sort of get to me a bit, but I've used the thing I love to get back to a really positive place. On a Thursday, when I get Thursday thoughts done, when I'm closing up like I am now, I always feel like the weekend's coming with another exciting one to look forward to. Of course, I'll be starting it with Wake Up to Walk. And all things being well, I'll be finishing the challenge I set myself throughout 2021 of completing the Robin Hood Way. Of course, it's been 112 miles of walking every Friday morning, with a couple of exceptions here and there when time or plans have not allowed. But it's been a pilgrimage. I've learned a lot. I've taken so much from it. I've seen Nottinghamshire in a whole new vein. So got about 10 or 12 miles to go. I'm hoping, all being well, I get up there, and I can tick that one off, sign off for the weekend, go to my football match, do my part one, get another challenge ticked off, and again, all this positivity will just build and build and build. With a Friday comes with all the reasons I get up and go for a walk, I'll be getting out there for my run as well. But all the benefits to waking up early on Friday morning, attacking the day, talking about what I've done in the week, whatever themes kind of crept up on me, nothing planned. Looking forward to next week, and of course, the next few weeks and the build up to Christmas. So please join me if you can, as ever. If you've enjoyed the video, really enjoyed it today. Feel like it's been a good one. Give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that, And of course, do subscribe. I've got 25 to go. Tell all your friends, They don't even have to watch it for the time being. I've just got 3 weeks to get 25 subscribers from nowhere. The last 25 took me about 3 years, it seems. But it doesn't matter. Please like, share, subscribe, do whatever. Check back in the morning. Check out all my social media links under this video if you're watching on a computer, or check out the details. Follow me, follow my walks, runs, whatever you want to sort of get involved in. Just look at some of the pictures I take on a Friday morning. That alone's got its own little following. There's one guy who looks in from Israel and he says it reminds him of home. Really enjoys it. He says from about the first few weeks he's been dreading the end, so he won't be looking forward to tomorrow, but he's been enjoying it all the way through, saying seeing bits and knots again. And of course, I really try and make an effort with the picks. So just little things like that mean it works. And like I always say, if one person's watching, if one person's getting something from it, that's all that matters. I'll be back for Wake Up to Walk. Just one quick comment. She has to say that, but it's nice to receive anyway. It's a time to give. So appreciate receiving nice comments. Like I say, do all those things I've said. Join me tomorrow for hopefully the completion of another target. But until then, have a great evening, guys. Just doing it.